Hey there, I'm Christy Wilhelmi from Gardenerd. It is seed starting time, and while I have presented a video on seed starting 2 ways, which I put the link below, if you're interested in starting seeds indoors for either fall or spring, whichever works for you, this video though, I realized I've never shown you my seed starting setup, so I'm going to take you on a little bit of a tour. I'm indoors right now, and this is my seed starting rack. It is a 3-tiered rack that I've only really ever used 2 of them. I start at the bottom and work my way up. You know, I want to start by saying this is, you can see there's some weird cardboard around my seeds here at the bottom. The reason for that is because right outside this window is a beehive. And this light is on at night, sometimes until maybe 11 o'clock. And the bees will really be drawn to it, and they try to come in, and if we don't protect them by blocking the light, we end up with dead bees in the tray all the time. So if you haven't read Doug Tallamy's work about bees and supporting native species of bees and other insects, check that out. It's we're actually killing a lot of insects every night that we leave lights on outside. So yes, I could install shades in front of the windows and doors, but this is free and really easy to do, and it seems to work. So I'm going to peel back the layers of cardboard so you can see what's going on under here. So the nuts and bolts of any seed starting grow light system is you have to have grow lights, right? And these, I have 2 full spectrum light bulbs in here. You have to have some kind of surface for the trays to be on, and you have to have your seed starting trays. It's really important to have a setup where you can raise and lower your lights. It's the most important thing in order to get short, bushy, strong seedlings. If your lights are too far above your seedling trays, they're going to grow toward that light and get long and leggy, and it's not pretty for anyone. And they're not strong. They end up breaking most of the time. So if you've ever experienced starting from seed and having really long stems with tiny little leaves on the end, that means it's not getting enough up close direct sunlight or artificial light. So let me talk about these lights for a minute. These are full spectrum light bulbs. Full spectrum, normal fluorescent lights have a short spectrum. You get the yellows and greens mostly from them. A full spectrum light bulb gives you the reds and blues on either side. So you end up mimicking sunlight much better. So you can go to any hardware store and buy a light fixture like this. You just need to change out the light bulbs for full spectrum lights. Easy enough to do. Those are available anywhere. And I will say, with the dawn of legal cannabis growing in most of the country now, there are LED lights available too. I have not gone in that direction. I really like this length. This is 4 feet of direct light, and some LEDs are a lot smaller and limited in the space. And I'm usually taking up a lot of real estate, which is why I have to move up to a second layer. And then I just like the even coverage. So that's the light part. I'm going to raise this up so you can see what that's like. I use so sometimes they don't perform that well. I use a clothespin to keep the light from sliding down. You want to pull on it and slide it up and put the clothespin back, and then do this to the other side here. There. Now you can see that there's plenty of room under here to maneuver and turn these seedling trays around. I usually like to have them facing this way so that all of the seeds are getting the same amount of light. If you have it front to back, sometimes the back and the front don't get as much light. So you can see these guys are curving forward. That tells me they're not getting enough light. Hey Mittens! Mittens is here. One of the other really important components to a seed setup is having a tray. This tray, these have a little bit of a lip on them. So once I transplant these 2-inch cells into 4-inch pots, I set them directly on the tray, and watering becomes really easy. All you have to do is maybe flood the tray with like a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch of water, and all the plants suck it up. It's great. So that's kind of a handy way of using this. Now these trays, this whole unit in fact came from Gardener Supply. They did not pay me to tell you about this. I just happen to really like this product. So you can check that out. The trays, they also sell as boot, like, you know, places to put your muddy boots in the mud room. So you might be able to find something else outside of the market that's good for that. Once you start all your seeds and put them under grow lights, you can leave the lights off until they start to germinate. But the second the very first seed germinates, lights go on. Let's talk about lights for a minute. Over here, I have the unit plugged into one of those really simple vacation timers that you usually plug into your lamp that you want to have come on and turn off at a certain time. It is plugged into a power strip that's then plugged into the wall. You want your lights to be on between 12 and 16 hours a day. I know that sounds like a lot, but when you put it on a timer, you don't have to think about it. The timer I plug in over here is set to go on at 6 a.m. and off at 11 p.m., which seems to be enough for these guys to grow. They grow really well if they have light very close to them. So let me show you what I do. I want the lights to be no more than 3 inches above the surface of the leaves. So we're going to drop this down, and that is not enough, but it's going to be a starting point. Let me bring this one down too. Like that, and then I can adjust, and it's a little higher than 3 inches, and you can see that those lights, the lack of light on this back, on these guys in the back, was affected. I could even lower this more if I really wanted these to do well. But Mittens is hanging out and checking things, so I'm not going to lower them all that much more. And as the plants grow, and as you transplant them up into 4-inch pots and put them back under grow lights for a little bit longer time, then you raise the lights, and so, but they're still always 3 inches above the surface of the leaves. Right, Mittens? Right, girl? Right, my girl? My final thought on this is that seed starting kits or trays or grow light systems like this, it does require that initial expense. However, my first grow light system was one of those fluorescent under the counter bulbs, and I stacked up phone books, yeah, I'm dating myself, and put my seed trays on that. And then as the plants grew, I removed phone books to lower the plants away from the light. So there are ways around this, but if you want to go, you know, kind of professional at the beginning, this is the way to go. The savings break out over the years. For the rest of your gardening life, you'll be able to start seeds for unique vegetables you can't find in the nursery, and you won't be able to find pretty much anywhere unless you grow them yourself. So it's totally worth it, in my opinion. If you like this video, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to find out when our next video comes online. Consider becoming a Patreon subscriber to support all the free stuff we do here at Gardenerd. Patreon subscribers get behind-the-scenes goodies and monthly hangouts with me. Of course, you'll learn how to start seeds in trays in my book, Gardening for Geeks. You can check out my other books, Grow Your Own Mini Fruit Garden, and my novel, Garden Variety. Happy gardening!